Oh, losing the phone there. G'day team, Coach Ray here. I'm here on the start line for the Bulla Half Marathon. Now, the Bulla Half Marathon is one of the most scenic marathons in New Zealand, if not the world. And I'll show you why. Because you're right next to the Bulla River there, and you basically follow the river from here all the way back into Westport. Now, I don't know if the Bulla Marathon's going to go ahead with the current COVID climate here in New Zealand. I don't know what their plans are. I haven't actually had a close look. But a lot of events around the country at the moment are having to be cancelled or put off just due to the New Zealand government's traffic light settings. Now, this isn't a dig at the government or a pro or con for the traffic light system. It's what we've got to deal with. It is what it is. Now, events that can't run in that climate, and luckily just a little bit further up the road at Lyle is the finish line for the Old Ghost Ultra, which they are going to be running it. They've got a little bit of advantage. It's more of a niche event for a very select group of crazies. Let's call them crazies rather than athletes. They are athletes, but to do a half marathon, it's a different level of craziness at the more acceptable end of the spectrum compared to someone doing an ultra marathon through some of the remotest country you can get. And then you've got the next level crazy, someone doing the miler at Tarawera. And unfortunately Tarawera have announced today that they've had to cancel their event because they just can't run it under the traffic light setting for the health and safety around COVID. So yeah, who knows what's happening with Ironman. Coast to Coast have cancelled their 2-day options. And are working on how to conduct the one-day options. Challenge Wanaka have cancelled their events. There's a lot of things happening. K2 have cancelled their cycle race. Don't know what's happening with Grape Ride. Xterra events in Wellington this weekend have been cancelled. Yeah, just don't know what's coming up. So this week chat, I wanted to do it live, but here in this amazingly scenic location, there is no cell phone coverage, so this is pre-recorded and I will load this up later tonight. So if you're wondering why it's dark where you are and it's beautiful sunlight where I am, it's just better weather here on the coast, that's all. Longer daylight hours, you know how it is. West Coast known for sunshine, and it always is. It's beautiful here. Putting that aside, what do you do? How do you manage your training when events aren't happening? Well, my recommendation is to focus on an aspect of your training and improve it. Now, Lionel Sanders did a great video series on his YouTube channel last year where he spent a period of time focusing on improving his sprint triathlon ability and capability. Then he worked on his Olympic distance triathlon performance and capability. Then his 70.3 or half Ironman performance, and then his last block was improving his Ironman distance triathlon ability. So if you're say an ultra runner and your event has just been cancelled, how about stepping it back, working on a little bit of speed, focus on your 5k performance, doing a block of 4 weeks and improving that, then another 4-week block on improving your 10k performance, then a 4-week block of improving your half marathon performance, and then a 4-week block improving your marathon performance. Hopefully, by the time you get to the end of that block, there's some marathons that are happening that you might be able to enter and actually have a crack and see what you're capable of doing. Fingers crossed at the end of the half marathon block there's an option there for you. Or you might just choose to go out and run the distance as an effective time trial, or get a group of mates together to run it. Options. If you're a cyclist, getting out, maybe just doing a 4 or an 8 or even a 16-week block of improving your FTP. Your FTP is currently 224. Aim to, in 4 weeks' time, have it 10% better at 250, and that's achievable. Or increase the performance from that 250 to 275. That's going to be a bit more of a challenge. And then after that, in the 4th month, aim to try and get greater than 300. And if you focus for 4 months solidly, you can improve from 225 to 300. That is achievable. Just truck going past. So those are options. Swimmers, you've got great options for pools here in New Zealand. Most of them are still open if you're vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, that's we'll leave the politics out of that as well. But for vaccinated people, there's an option there of getting into the pool, having a block of training, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, purely focused on improving your 1500 metre swim capability. Then maybe another 8-week block of trying to improve your Ironman distance swim ability for those of you that are triathletes, or maybe you're an open water swimmer. And off the top of my head, I did look the other day at the Ocean Swim Series here in New Zealand and what their contingencies are, and I can't remember because I've got so many events swimming around in my head in terms of what's happening, but I do know the Swim the Lighthouse in Wellington is still going ahead this weekend, so there's a lot happening in that space. So just having a dedicated block of training. Now, I've got some programs and options available if you're looking at wanting to follow one of those concepts. Reach out to me and we can organise a time to have a chat. Whether you come on board as an athlete, I don't have many slots available at the moment, but there is options with the Training Peaks training plans, so we can have a chat about that if you want, or if you just want some ideas on where to take your training. We've got no idea what events are going to run over the next 6 months. Christchurch Marathon are looking at where they're going to be come April. Rotorua are doing the same come May. Who knows, unfortunately. So having some dedicated focus on a block of training is a great way of motivating yourself. Having that, seeing where you are at the start, whether it's a 5k run at the start and then a 5k run at the finish, and seeing where you're at, whether it's a 1500 metre swim, and take it from this level of ability and improving it up to here, going from 29 minutes and 34 seconds to 27 minutes and 49. Improving your ability is what this is all about, and taking the time while we don't have the race options. There will be race options, but which ones and how they're going to manage. If Ghost Road, I think they'll probably sell out next year if they are successful and get things going, whereas other events like Tarawera, due to their numbers, don't have the capability to run performance or run their events under the traffic light system, whereas you can get out and you can do your own training and manage your own performance and see where you're at. Spend a block of time training specifically for it and then knocking it out of the park with a great performance for 16 weeks later. So there's options there on what you can do. Anyway, I'm going to sign off from the start line of the Bulla Marathon, and last time I was standing here, I was here with, I can't remember how many people on the start line. I think it was about 700-800 odd people stretching down the road that way, because we then ran that way at a great rate of knots. So anyway, all the best, train hard, train smart, and stay safe out there in the COVID world.